One final road trip to the Midwest coming up this weekend, and a great opportunity in front of UCLA taking on the #1 team in the nation. Welcome back to the Bruin Insider Show. Nick Cope with Wayne Cook, and of course joined by the interim head coach Tim Skipper. Coach, good to see you as always. I'm just curious off the top, what were some of your main takeaways when you had a chance to watch the film from last weekend against Nebraska?
Yeah, if you look at the stat sheet, we're balanced all the way through. So you look at total yards, you look at rush yards, you look at passing yards, you look at time of possession. I've never been in a game where it was 30-30, first time ever. So turnovers were 0-0. Like, everything was balanced out. But when you really evaluate it, it was like the Northwestern game. We started slow. We didn't come out the gates the right way. They had 3 possessions. They scored TDs with them. We had 4. We went punt. We went touchdown. We went loss of downs on 4th down. And then we went missed field goal. So that, to me, was the difference. We started to play in the second half. Things settled down. They didn't score in the 4th quarter. Just ran out of time, couldn't get the ball back at the end. So we got to get back to starting fast. It's the second time come off a bye week that's happened for whatever reason. So that was my main takeaway that I would say from seeing it and watching it again and thinking about everything.
It's crazy, Coach, because with so few possessions, I think, Nick, it was 7-7.
Pretty much, yeah. Take out some kneel downs. Yeah. It was 7 apiece.
Yep.
It's insane how much all these little things matter so much. As an offensive guy, I always want balance. And I know sometimes the stats will show balance, but it really felt like it was a lot of Nico and not as much really effective running the football and throwing the football. Just a lot of kind of, I don't want to call it hero plays because you want your elite athletes to do that. But I imagine going forward, we got to find a way to become a little more consistent and run the plays as designed.
And I think the defenses know that too. The box is loaded up in there. I mean, it's crazy. And you try to establish it that way. In this game, it's one of the first ones in a while, since Penn State really, where they were playing a lot of coverage and dropping guys. So once you got past the front 4, there was nobody there. So there was a lot of openings in our pass game to get some leakage for Nico to get out of there and run. But you're exactly right. We're constantly trying to figure out ways that we can get the RBs established and things like that. I mean, we threw the swing screen out there to Woods, and he took it to the house because the box was loaded. We just ran across. So getting out in the perimeter in this Nebraska game was the way to go. And then Nico was able to get some running lanes. He had a lot of running lanes, actually, in the game. That was our most effective thing as far as getting runs. So it's just something we have to keep working on, but you're going to have to take with what the defense gives you. So that's basically what it's coming down to.
In a game with so few possessions, how does that impact your game plan, if at all?
That's kind of what we want, to be totally honest with you. We've slowed the game down. We're trying to play complementary football. We're staying in a huddle longer. Nebraska's the same exact way. Ohio State's going to be that way when we get to them. We're just trying to win the time of possession battle. We're trying to cut the game down a little bit, especially as your bodies are getting banged up and your depth's suffering a little bit. We are just going to limit the possessions, but we have to maximize the possessions. That's going to be the key to it. So as long as we maximize the possessions, we'll be fine. When you're not, that's when slowing it down can kind of eat you up.
Coach, on the theme again of how every little thing matters in these football games, especially a close one like we had at the Rose Bowl last week. And again, I'm going to tell you, I have not gone back and watched the film, so this is just off me being on the sidelines and watching.
Oh, yeah.
2 of the big runs down the sidelines. My first thought, especially on the first one, was, I don't know if we pursued the way we should have. I thought we had an opportunity to get him down before he scored. And when that happens, now you start to try to force him to kick a field goal and stuff like that. And sometimes guys think, hey, maybe he was out of bounds. Guys make mistakes. But I don't know if that showed up on film as well.
Yep, you got to tackle better. I mean, that's bottom line. And one of them, the pursuit was a little weird, but the second one, the pursuit was fine. We just didn't get him down. They gave us some extra offensive linemen in there stuff and made trying to set the front, and we were kind of prepared for it, but when we got out there in the game, it kind of shook us a little bit, and we didn't know if we were going to knock the front or we were going to call it to the extra guy or that true tight end. All that was drama that we had to deal with on the sideline. Once we settled down with that, we weren't thinking so much. We started playing faster. Now the angles got better. The tackling got better. Everything got better once we settled down. So we just need to start faster and play ball from the jump, and we'll be fine.
So I think you answered my next question, because after Nebraska had their touchdowns, you guys got back-to-back punts there, got the stops you needed to get back into the game. Those were the adjustments that were made on defense to make all that possible?
Big time. And, all this attention was going to the new quarterback and things like that. Well, really, it's still stayed number 21, the running back. He was the guy. We talked about it all week. All they did is they tried to give us some formation stuff to take our minds off of it. And the very first play, the quarterback pulled it. The very first play. Yep. So you just, we got a zone read guy. Got to worry about the quarterback. And 21 still was the objective of the game. So we just had to settle down. We just got to the sideline. We talked about what we were seeing. The iPads came in handy. I'll say that. And once we figured it all out, we were fine.
This is just a comment, Coach. I said it right after the game, and I heard other people say it too. I would have rather seen Raiola. I thought the way they ran the football and the way they played was exactly how Nebraska should play. I just thought it would almost like worked out better for them, which is hard to say. You don't have to say anything about that, but I have a more philosophical question. Because there's always the psyche of the athlete that we're dealing with. And anybody that's had kids that's played youth sports in this recent era, like everybody's always looking to play for a winner. Like I listen to kids all the time, like, well, my team stinks, so I'm going to go somewhere else and win next year. And then they start labeling themselves as winners. I've even heard college coaches say, I only recruit winners. And I'm like, wow, I think you're using that word wrong. When you look at athletes that still fight and scratch and claw, Nick just mentioned the coming back from being down by quite a bit and actually playing better in the second half. This team showed that they have that heart. I'm just curious if you could add to that a little bit, or even talk about the modern athlete, what they have to deal with when they deal with adversity. Especially since a lot of them in high school, they did nothing but win all the way through until they got to this point.
My big thing, and you've heard me say this a bunch, is I look for guys that like to strain and know how to strain. When the going gets tough, what are you going to do? That's my objective. That's everything, because football is a hard sport. You're going to be physically and mentally, you're going to be drained most of the time. And how are you going to handle that? That's the main thing that I look for. I like to watch, when I watch high school kids, I like to watch second halves of games. That's what I love to do. And I want to see that they're still playing hard and doing what they need to do. The scoreboard doesn't matter. Those types of things. The big thing you hear now is that they're saying all the college kids are just looking for the money, right? Everybody's just going where they have the most money. So I want the guys that want to be able to strain and love to strain and win that way. By straining all the time, whether they're at practice, whether they're in the film room, whether they're during the game, whether they might be on the sideline straining over the iPad to figure out what we need to do better. Like, I want guys that know how to strain, come out in the second half, and go fight. That's what I want. A collection of those, and you're going to be all right.
Nick, you have to let me follow up, because this is my favorite part of the conversation. I love this.
Let me get
because Nick, I promise. This is just one more. It's funny, and I'm sure you heard this growing up being in a family of coaches, but I've always felt like for college kids, you just mentioned it, pro scouts are doing the same thing. When you're losing, how are you playing? Or how are you hustling? When everything's going wrong, are you the type of person that ever you get a little nick, you come out of the game, or do you fight through it? There's so many. When I was a baseball player, right? My dad used to tell me this all the time, dude, how you warm up matters. You're probably going to get more plays and warm-ups than you are going to get the whole game. So, from beginning to end, every little detail, which is such a football coach, football lifestyle type thing, it matters a ton. And the good scouts are going to watch that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to watch everything. I pay attention to who's going to get dressed and get out to the field first when we get ready for practice, because we all know what time it's going to start. But who's trying to get out there and do a little extra? That is big for me. The little things matter. You take care of the little things, and you never have big issues. So I'm big into that, just huge into that. It all comes along with strain. I mean, guys that strain are the ones that are going to be out there early. They're going to stay later, all of that stuff. I mean, they're getting their bodies and minds ready for the hard time. And you can't do that sitting in the locker room waiting until 1 minute before practice is going to start.
Yep.
I was going to say one guy on this team who is showing that is your quarterback, and he's shown it throughout the year, but the toughness and effort he displayed this past weekend really stood out. Have you seen or encountered a quarterback that invites contact the way he does?
Yeah, that's a great question. I kind of got asked that question earlier today. He is the tallest, skinniest guy I've ever seen at that position that loves to go at linebackers and safeties and lower the boom on them and is fearless. Like, it's crazy how powerful he is. Like, he just has some natural strength about him and some no fear about him that you're going to have to try to tackle me. I'm not going to slide for you. I'm not going to let you have half my body. I'm coming right at you. You're going to have to deal with all of this. So I love it. Hopefully his little body can hang on to all that contact, and we can do what we do, because I always tell him, man, you might want to get a slip and slide and use it and figure out how to slide and get down a little bit. But that's what settles him down. Like, he tells me that all the time. That's how I get into the game. He tells me that. So, hey, be you, man. Be you.
I think to stick on that point a little bit longer, first of all, it's impressive. Second of all, though, and this is what I think about, I used to hate it when I missed a pass and the coach would be like, give me 10. And then I'd miss another one, give me 10 more. I'd be like, well, I'm missing them because I'm doing push-ups in between each throw. And then you watch the way Nico plays and you're like, dude, it's hard to throw. So what I'm about to say is again, these little things is not intended to be ultra negative, because I can't imagine playing quarterback being as tired as he must be, because I think it takes a lot more than people think. Mm-hmm. But there's rollouts. And one specific example that I can think of, he's rolling out to the right, and he has a deep layered route that's been open for feels like an hour, and he throws it late and throws it out of bounds. Those are the little things that I think as a quarterback, like, and again, we don't know where the brain's at, how tired he is, but man, sometimes it doesn't have to be even the deep one. It's the shorter one. You just get it out. As soon as you come around, pop your head around, it's gone. And it's an easy pass and catch because he's so talented. I know that stuff shows up on the film, but it's like, I want to say, Nico, you could take what you're doing to that next level. Take the layups, take the easy ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think if Nico was sitting here right here, he'd say the same thing to you. That's a play that he wished he could get back. I think I know exactly which play you're talking about towards our sideline.
Yep.
He knew it right when he threw it. As soon as he threw it, he's like, you know, you could just tell by his body language. So this is stuff we got to continue to keep working on. And like you said, there's no telling. I mean, he's just running around. He's doing all this stuff. And he's out in the free, and it's just him and the receiver. And just would wish he could get that back. So I think Nico would definitely tell you, yeah, you're right. I would love to get that play back.
Well, one of the easiest plays he had was a 50-yard touchdown, or I think officially 45, but Anthony Woods caught it at midfield and took it 50 yards. You get him back, get his speed, and get his yards after the catch, and we saw the explosiveness on that one play.
Yeah, the speed, you know, that is definitely a get-it-to guy. You want to get it to him in the space, and if there's some daylight, he's going to hit it. So that was good to see for him, because he's been dealing with some injuries and things like that, and he's finally back healthy, and it was great to just get him out in the perimeter, let him use his vision and get vertical, and then show his speed. It was a wonderful thing. They weren't going to let us do stuff in the inside and the middle. They just made a point, we're not letting y'all do that. So we had to do some adjusting and things and get it outside, and it worked.
One more on last week's game before we move forward for me. I still old-fashioned when it comes to defensive guys knocking the crud out of people. Key Lawrence had some shots in that game, you know, the kind where you hit them and you kind of just hover over the top of them. I don't know how you feel about this. I know the goal is to get them down, but sometimes just like an offensive big play, those big hits can bring a lot of energy and kind of hype up that defense.
Definitely, as long as you keep your head out of your work and you're not in the targeting range. I always tell the guys, if you wrap up, pretty much you're not going to get called for anything. But if you just throw shoulders and your head's in there, now you're in the danger zone. So, but once you wrap up, you make those big hits, you get guys on the ground. The excitement on the sideline just goes crazy. Then the crowd gets into it and all that. Like, that's a wonderful feeling. Me being a former linebacker, I know exactly how that feels for me individually when you make the play. So I love seeing those type of plays being made.
One more thing I wanted to get your thoughts on from last weekend was we saw another fake punt, except this time instead of Cole Martin, it was Jacob Busick picking it up. And I know there was a timeout called initially. I'd love if you could just kind of break down everything that went into that play.
There's a lot happened in that play. So it was, I think it was 4th and 1 or 2. I can't remember. And we sent the punt team out there like we always do. Kind of wanted to see what they were going to line up in, if they're going to go their punt return or they're going to do safe. So once we saw the look, we used the timeout, and then we made it seem like the offense was going to come back out there. So the offense actually came towards the field like they were going to go. I didn't talk to the punt team at all. I just was talking in the headset as I'm talking to Jerry. But I'm really talking to Bailey McElwain, and I'm saying, all right, it's on, you can run it. But I'm talking to Jerry like, hey, get a call ready, let's get ready, because I wanted them to think about defense. I didn't want them thinking about the punt return. So as soon as they blew the whistle, I turned back around, we broke the huddle, ran the play, and it worked. So it's something we've been practicing since day one, just haven't had the opportunity to run it. So we had a little bit of mind games because we've had some fakes already ran and stuff. So I wanted to kind of take their mind off of the fake and think more about, if the offense comes back out here, we got to go defense, and da-da-da-da, what are we going to call, and da-da-da-da. And then we just kept the unit out there and we ran it.
Well, and to have a defensive end receive the snap, how did Jacob Busick come to be the guy in that situation?
That's his normal position, so he had to learn how to catch a snap. So we've been doing that since Northwestern week. Yeah, so first time we started doing that. So he's been catching them for a while. So once we felt like he wasn't catching it like a D lineman would, we knew we were ready to run it.
All right, Nick, good job of sneaking in the double questions there to catch up to me. That was good. I like that. Good news, coaches. You get a nice break this week. You get to travel and play the #1 team in the country. Football's brutal, and I hope the athletes are excited about the opportunity because, I know when I went to college, I wanted, I loved the non-conference schedules the way I know this is a non-conference, but I loved, we've got who on the schedule? We got Michigan, we got Nebraska, we got back when we didn't play those schools. And I was like, man, this is great. So you travel, they've got a quarterback in Julian Saying, coach, who's completing, and this is hurts my head to think about 80% of his passes, just over 80%. That's and he throws a lot. Mm-hmm. So it's insane what he's done. And then you throw in Tate and Smith. They don't run the ball as much, but they run the ball very effectively. It's just this is going to be a huge challenge for this defense to deal with an attack like this.
Definitely. How you started off, the team better be excited for this one. This is why you play. There's no bigger challenge and no bigger opportunity for you right here. So we'll be ready to go. Should have a good week of practice and fly out there and night kickoff under the lights and let's go play. As far as their offenses, they have playmakers all over the board. They still do run the ball. But as soon as you start to load that box, it's on for those guys. They're going to attack you like crazy. They have multiple weapons they can use. They'll even use the backs in the pass game a little bit too. So we're going to have to be ready to go. We're going to have to play all phases of the game, every down of the game. We have to be locked into what we're doing. We cannot have any mess-ups. This is not a team that you can say, oh, I knew I had that guy, but I wasn't there, or my coverage, I should have been there, and all that stuff, all the excuses, that's out. We have to be ready to go. Play lights out from the beginning or they'll expose us and abuse us a little bit.
When you look at the defense, just the numbers really pop off the screen with how they have limited opposing teams. And Caleb Downs at safety, we've been watching him for a number of years and what he's done. He's a great guy there in the back end for them. But as a team, what stands out to you?
Yeah, I'll tell you the first thing. I said I always get the stats, right, from every team. And I always want to know how many points do they give up. And it said 7 point something. And I was like, no, I need the whole game. I don't want just the first quarter or first half. And they were like, this is the game. I was like, what? So they're not letting people score. They're doing a very, very good job of playing team defense. They don't do a lot of just exotic stuff. They line up and play very, very fast. They're physical. They're going to put hands on you, and they play violent. That's the way I'd explain that defense. For all the playmakers that they have, for these guys to be playing unselfishly, it's actually very good to see. A lot of people don't think you can do that in this day and age, and they are doing that. So they play together in that, and we're going to have to be on our game.
throw in, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, and you and I have talked about this before, where like when you go, I remember playing the Washington Huskies were really good at defense in the early 90s. The Arizona Wildcats were Desert Swarm were really good at defense. I played against a Nebraska team that won a national championship. They're with Trev Alberts and company. They're really, really good defensive teams. And I remember Coach really emphasized a few things, especially from a quarterback standpoint. We're going to avoid negative plays. Like, I don't care if you throw for 45%. Don't eat it. Don't get sacked. Don't take those negative 8, 9, 10-yard plays. Get your butt back to the line of scrimmage if you can. And turnovers. You go back to the 2 previous games where we had a couple of turnovers in both of those games. Turnovers can get you sideways so quickly. So negative plays like false starts, and you're in an environment, right? And are you going to have crowd noise going all week?
Yeah,
I mean,
we do that every road game for sure.
It's going to be freaking loud.
Yeah.
So all those things are magnified, but if you can avoid that stuff, like you said, and have that game where when the plays are there, you get it, and you don't shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah. The fastest way to anywhere is a straight line. We're going to be in some straight lines. So we just need to keep moving forward, nothing going backwards. And I think that's kind of what you're saying. We cannot go backwards. They're way too good for that. We can't have excuses. There's no room for error. We have to be locked in right now, today, all the way through the final whistle. So that's our challenge. But this is what you want. This is what you want to play for. It's nationally televised. It's nighttime. The lights are out. It's going to be sold out in there. It's a beautiful thing. So we just need to step up to the plate and let's go play.
All right, Coach, we're looking forward to it. Thanks so much for your time. Go get them.
Thank you. I appreciate it.